let's talk about Leicester City up next, and Brendan Rodgers in particular, and the pressure that is on him. I wonder what you think should happen next at Leicester City. 03717 22 3344. Will Brendan Rodgers stay in his job? They've got 1 point from 7 games so far, lost 6 on the bounce, 22 goals conceded, the most in the Premier League, right at the bottom of the table, of course, and we've come to expect a lot more from Leicester City. What are the big issues for Brendan Rodgers right now, Darren?
Confidence, absolute confidence, or lack of it. In terms of the team they have, if you look at the team they've got, it's a good team. It's a good squad. Now, they're conceding way too many goals. We know that. I think 22 goals conceded is... I think it's the most in Premier League history after 7 games. I could be wrong. I'm sure I'll be corrected, but I believe it is. Now, that is solely down to confidence, like I said. And I kind of think sometimes the manager doesn't have to take full responsibility. I think the players need to take some responsibility. And James Maddison said exactly this after the game in his interview for Spurs. He kind of questioned the players as well, questioned why... And was a bit sad why it's always down to the manager. Brendan obviously speaks exactly how he always does and states that it is solely down to the manager and the buck stops with him, and he understands that. But if you look at the 11 that played that started against Spurs, apart from potentially a fully fit Jamie Vardy, if you asked 100 Leicester fans, that's probably the best side that they could pick at the moment. Now, they've lost Kasper Schmeichel and Wes Fofana, which are 2 huge players to lose, particularly Kasper Schmeichel. Obviously, Wes Fofana didn't play many games, but Schmeichel was a heartbeat of their defence. But in terms of conceding, it was happening before Kasper Schmeichel left. Maybe he see that and just felt he has to get away from it. He's doing all the right things in terms of he knows he concedes from set plays, and as we heard off James Maddison, they've had a set piece expert specialist come in and they spend hours and hours on the training pitch, which, believe you me, is awful to do. And so confused. He seems so confused and upset why they keep conceding offset plays, having worked this much. Now, I don't think he'll be gone. I thought it'd have happened already. You see, when there's international breaks, it normally happens early on. So I still think he's going to still be there. The owners seem to have a good relationship with him, but this cannot continue because they are a victim of their own success. We know this, but this can't continue for a side like Leicester. I personally don't think they'll go down. I don't think they'll be in a relegation battle come the end of the season. I think they'll finish probably top half, but it needs to start really, really soon.
It does. The spine of the team, I still think is half decent, but you have lost very important players. I think something that has affected them is the summer transfer window, the number of their players that were linked with moves. Big moves, attractive moves. Yuri Tielemans looks like he's now in the last year of his deal, but doesn't look like he'll sign a new deal at Leicester City. And James Maddison was, I think, a £60 million bid, was it? Reportedly anyway, from Newcastle United, which I think would turn any player's head at this point in time. You look at the upcoming games, Nottingham Forest next will be huge. Of course, if they lose that game at home, Monday the 3rd of October, you could probably say Brendan Rodgers will definitely go. But if they get through that, they've got Bournemouth, they're at home to Crystal Palace, and then they're at home to Leicester City. So the next 4 Premier League games for me is where Brendan Rodgers' job, I think, will be decided. I know there have been reports in the newspapers around a big payout for Brendan Rodgers if he is sacked. And maybe that is the reason that the ownership of the club is giving him time, because we know what the finances are at Leicester City, and they're in a very difficult position. I think they posted reportedly the biggest losses by any Premier League club ever. So it doesn't help either. But do you feel for Brendan Rodgers in any way, given those things that I've mentioned?
To a certain degree, yes. But, you know, he has good players on his book, so they should be doing better. So I look at it as a collective. I don't just look at it. Now, we have Leicester supporters on Sunday on the boot room ringing in, and I agree with them as well. He kind of makes the wrong substitutions, or he doesn't make any substitutions. Now, that's down to him. Now, he has to take criticism from that. Of course he does. But he has a good squad. And I see enough. We've spoken about Spurs and against Leicester, but I see enough, particularly in the first hour, and it was only Son coming on with a masterclass hat-trick, 13 minutes, that Leicester will be okay, but is okay enough for the Leicester City supporters after the last few years.
I think the last few years should buy him some time. I know the Leicester fans are very unhappy with what they've seen. Who wouldn't be 6 defeats in a row? And also some of the body language from Brendan Rodgers seems a little bit resigned at times. I know he says I'll fight on, but it doesn't seem to be emanating from him a fighting spirit at this point in time. So I can understand the concerns, massive concerns of the Leicester fans, but it's a manager who got them 5th in the Premier League on 2 occasions. And yeah, you can argue they should have finished in the top 4 those seasons, but it's Leicester City finishing 5th in the table should still be seen as a fantastic finish for any manager of that club, and winning a first FA Cup triumph. Now that should buy you some time. And the bigger question after that is, who do they replace Brendan Rodgers with? You can answer. If Brendan Rodgers goes, who do you think would be in line? It could be anyone from the continent, could be anyone from the world that you think has the credentials to do a better job than Brendan Rodgers right now.
Well, I mean, I think if he goes, I think you're coming towards January. Not many games left until the World Cup. Then January, the transfer window. I think a few players could be looking to get out if they get rid of Rodgers. And I'm only basing this on James Maddison's interview, where it seems like a lot of people say you're performing this badly. He's lost the dressing room. Now the interview suggested otherwise, suggested that they still like him as a manager. Now, I think a lot of players will be looking to get out if Rodgers goes as well, because they'll see it as a sinking ship and just get away from it. But if he does, and he happens to, they part ways with him, I mean, who's out there? I heard Drive yesterday, Bentley's talking and Andy Goldstein talking about Pochettino, and Andy's perception was Pochettino would never go for a Leicester. I think he should. And I agree with Darren Bent, who said that he should as well. I don't think Leicester's too small for Pochettino. Okay, he gone from Southampton to Spurs to PSG. Would Leicester look like a step back? Potentially, but he's doing nothing at the moment. And Chelsea needed a manager a couple of weeks ago. They went for Graham Potter. Manchester United needed a manager. They went for Ten Hag. They didn't go for Pochettino. So why not go for someone like that if you're Leicester? Money's going to be an issue. I understand that. Wages. It's going to cost an awful lot to get rid of Brendan Rodgers, and then an awful lot to get Mauricio Pochettino. So that's the question mark, and that's probably the question mark as to why they've not got rid of Brendan Rodgers yet, because I'm led to believe it £10 million maybe it will cost to get rid of him. Now, if they're struggling financially as we think they are, they can't afford to do that yet.
There's a part of me, I'll whisper it, there's a part of me that thinks if Gareth Southgate leaves his job after the World Cup, Mauricio Pochettino could be in line.
Really?
Could be. I just got that feeling. If he's still available, he would be right up there for the FA. Very likeable character amongst the football fans of this country. But yeah, look, Brendan Rodgers and Leicester do need to solve their problems. Hopefully that run of fixtures, for his sake, they can do so, and the club as well, because they're not where we expect them to be right now.
Kick-off with Hugh Wozencroft. Tuesday to Thursday night, 7 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.